Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about morphology, which is the study of the word structure and formation of words. There are many processes that explain how new words are formed and how existing words can change their form or meaning. In our presentation, we will explore some of these processes, such as inflection and derivation, compounding, reduplication, conversion, clipping, blending, backformation, acronyms, and initialisms, and onomatopoeia. So, to start, I will explain first what is the difference between inflection versus derivation. What you need to know about inflection morphology is that this is a process that changes the form of a word, but it is important to note that it not change the meaning of the word class. In other words, inflection helps a word fit grammatically into a sentence. Here I have an example. We can say the verb walk. That can become walks, walk, and walking. So the word walk stays a verb, but the ending changed to show maybe tense, person, or aspect. So inflectional morphemes are like small grammatical signals that tell us how, when, or how many. For instance, here I have another example. The S in dogs show plural, which is numbers, and the ED can explain the past time, which is play, the ed and play, and the apostrophe s in Mary's book shows the possession of something. So inflectional morphology adds grammatical information without creating a new word or changing the core meaning. So in English, we usually have only 8 inflectional morphemes, such as S, ed, ing, er, and est. Finally, it is important to remember that inflection is different from derivation because inflectional change help the word to work grammatically, while derivation actually creates a new word. So, in summary, inflectional morphology modifies a word's form to show things like number, tense, or comparison, but the word still keeps its same meaning and category. Now we will move to derivational morphology.
Derivational morphology. Derivation is the process that creates new words by adding prefixes or suffixes to a base or root word. Unlike inflection, derivation changes the meaning or even the word class. For example, from the verb teach, we can make the noun teacher with the suffix er. From the adjective happy, we can make the noun happiness by using the prefix ness. Or from the noun nation, we get the adjective national by adding the suffix al. These new words have different meanings and often belong to different grammatical categories. Derivational morphemes can be prefixes like on in unhappy or this in disconnect, or suffixes like ness, meant, able, or full. Another key point is that derivation can be used multiple times in a word. For example, unhappiness has the prefix on and the suffix ness, both derivational, forming a completely new noun. In summary, derivational morphology helps us expand the vocabulary by forming new words, while inflectional morphology only helps us express grammar within a sentence. In this chart, we can see the difference between inflections and derivation. Inflection is related to grammar and derivation is related to vocabulary. Inflection, the meaning is the same, and in derivation, the meaning is new. In inflection, the word class unchanged, and in derivation, the word class can change. As example, we have the verb played with inflection changed to played, and in derivation, we have the noun happy that changed to happiness. Now, my partner is going to talk about compounding.
Hello, today I want to talk about the compounding. Compounding is the way to make a new word by joining 2 existing words together. For example, blue plus bird. And with we make the mix, we can have the new word blue bird. Comes from these 2 words, blue and bird. And we have other example like toothbrush. Come from tooth and brush. The meaning of the new word is usually related to the both part. In English, the last word in the compound decides the type of the word. For example, bluebird is a noun because the last word is bird. And other example, we can have a spoon feed, and the last word is feed, so the word is a verb. And compound can be bright as one word, like blackboard, or with a high hip, like sister-in-law, or brother-in-law, or mother-in-law. Or has a two words like ice cream. And compounding is very common in English because they use to create new words like Bitcoin and digital detox. Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Melvin. I'm going to continue talking about our topics. In this case, we have the reduplication. Reduplication is a common morphological process. Reduplication happens when we repeat a word or part of the word. It can change the meaning. For example, in Indonesia, orange means a person, and orange means a people. In English, change the meaning. For example, in English, we also have a words like bye-bye, no, or go, which come from repeating the same word. For this reason, to change the meanings. Now, we have the conversation. Conversation is a process. It's a process that when a word changes in category without adding any affixes. For example, we have the email. The email can become a verb. For example, to email. Or the verb to run, for example, we have can become a noun, a run. Even adjectives can become nouns like the poor or the rich. This process is also called zero derivation because no new ending in a dead. For this reason, conversation is easy. It's a way to create new words and meaning in English. So, it is all. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to leave you with my classmates.
I'm Nelson Salgado, and today I'm going to explain about two important things. Clipping is especially popular in casual speech where it has childhood forms like prof for professor, psych for psychology, doc for doctor, burger for hamburger. However, many clipped forms have also been accepted in general usages. App, auto, laugh, soup, deli, farm, demo, and condo. No? And I have for example, I have the first part that is so it's so logical. In the other hand, I have two examples more: food, influencer, and bank, and caravan. No? I'm going to with the other part that is blending, and is the same of the first part. I have a short meeting, but I'm going to explain more. Okay, blending is a word formation process in which part of two or more existing words are combined to create a new words with a different meaning. No, and the words, it could be two or more existing words, are combined to create a new word with a new meaning. Usually, the first part of one word and the last part of another are joining together, and blending is the process of forming a new word by combining non-morphemic part of two existing word, but I just we have to combine it, and the result is a one word with a different meaning. I have displaying the example for cosplay, costume plus play, chill plus relax, and we have a chillax. Well, that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I'm gonna talk about word formation and onomatopoeia. Word formation is a morphological process where a new word is created by removing an affix, real or imagined, from an existing word. It usually involves going from a longer form, often a noun, to a shorter one, often a verb. For example, editor to edit. Speakers assume that since worker comes from work, editor must come from edit, so they verb form it. In a morphological aspect, it shows how speakers unconsciously analyze words, structures, and reinterpret them to form new words. In syntactic aspect, the new verb form word often changes the grammatical category. For example, noun to verb, which affects how it functions in sentences. For example, editor, noun to edit, verb. Now can appear as predicate. She edits the paper. In a social or usage note, book formation is a common way languages evolve naturally through an analogy in economy. Speakers simplify forms to make them fit familiar patterns. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia refers to words that imitate or suggest natural sounds. These are often created to represent noises made by animals, objects, or actions. For example, buzz, sound of a bee; splash, sound of water; bang, explosion; click, small mechanical sound. Onomatopoeic words often become the base for derivational morphology, forming verbs or nouns. For example, as I gave you before, buzz, buzzing, buzzed. Once formed, these words behave like ordinary lexical items and take synthetic roles in sentences. The bee buzzed near my ear, verb. There was a loud bang, noun. Onomatopoeic expressions vary across languages, showing how speakers perceive and represent sounds differently. In conclusion, back formation creates a new word by removing a perceived affix. Onomatopoeia is the word that imitates a sound.
Hello, I will talk about acronyms and initialism. Acronyms and initialism are short forms made from the first letter of several words, and we use them to make long phrases or names easier to say and remember. There is an important difference between them because an acronym is formed when we take the first letter of several words and we pronounce together, so we pronounce as a one word. And initialism is also made with the first letter of words, but the difference is that we say pronounce separately, so we don't pronounce as a one word because we pronounce each letter. Here I have some example and acronyms. The first one is NATO. We pronounce, as I said before, as a one word, NATO, instead of say NATO, and it means North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The next one is UNICEF, instead of say UNICEF, and it means United Nations International Children Emergency Fund. The next one is YOLO, you only live once, and the last one, FOMO, fear of missing out. So as you can hear, I pronounce all of them as a one word, instead of pronounce separately, so instead of pronounce each letter. And initialism, the first one is USA. You say separately instead of say USA, and it means United States of America. The next one is BIP, and you don't say BIP, and it is very important person. The next one, CD, compact disc, and the last one, GPS, Global Positioning System. So to summarize as acronyms is when you pronounce as a one word, and initialism is when you pronounce each letter. So that's all. Thank you.
In conclusion, morphology helps us to understand how words are formed and how they can change their meaning or grammatical role through different processes such as inflection, derivation, compounding, clipping, blending, and others. So we can see how language is constantly growing and adapting also. Studying morphology allows us to recognize patterns in words and to use them more effectively in communication.